Alright, switching to English. One continuous flow, same dark vibe, plus 500-ish words continuation from that exact moment, no line breaks. Just straight immersion. He didn't move, not because he couldn't anymore, but because something inside him had finally accepted the truth he had been avoiding this entire time. This wasn't something he could run from. The white space around him felt endless, like a void pretending to be harmless, to clean, to quiet, to empty, to be real. The versions of himself stood in a line ahead, unmoving at first, each pair of eyes locked onto him with an intensity that made his skin crawl. One of them stepped forward, the one with the hollow expression, the one that looked like it had already given up on everything. You still don't get it, do you? It said, its voice calm, almost tired. He clenched his fists. Get what? A different version laughed sharp, mocking, the kind of laugh he hated hearing, even from himself, that this was never about escape. Another stepped forward, this one smiling faintly, but there was no warmth in it. It was always about confrontation. His head started to spin. This doesn't make any sense. Of course it doesn't. One of them snapped, eyes narrowing. You've spent your whole life making sure it doesn't. The space shifted subtly at first, then violently. The white began to crack like glass, thin fractures spreading in every direction beneath their feet. He staggered back. What is this place? This. The hollow one replied, tilting its head slightly. This is what's left when all your lies run out. The cracks deepened, and through them, darkness seeped in not like shadows, but like something alive. Something crawling up from underneath reality itself. He felt it before he saw it, a pressure in his chest, a weight pressing against his thoughts. Memories started bleeding through faces, voices, moments he had buried so deep he thought they were gone. The arguments, the silence after, the things he should have said, the things he did say. Regret hit him like a wave, sudden and suffocating. Stop, he muttered. Make it stop. We can't, another version said quietly, this one looking almost sympathetic. We are you. One by one, they began to move, stepping closer in sync, their footsteps echoing in a space that shouldn't have had sound. Every choice you ignored, step. Every truth you twisted, step. Every fear you refused to face, step. He backed away, but there was nowhere to go. The cracks had spread behind him, cutting off any path of retreat. The void below pulsed faintly, like it was waiting. You think you can just walk away from all of that? The mocking one said, now right in front of him. That you get to pretend none of it matters. I didn't. He started, but the words died in his throat because he knew. He knew exactly what they meant. The smiling one leaned in, its voice dropping to a whisper. Say it. He shook his head. Say it. They all echoed now, their voices overlapping, surrounding him from every direction. His chest tightened. Aye, the ground beneath him cracked louder this time, a sharp, splitting sound that cut through everything. I messed up. He forced out, the words tasting bitter, unfamiliar. The movement stopped. Silence fell again. The versions of him froze, their expressions unreadable. For a second, just a second, he thought it was over. Then the hollow one smiled. And that was worse than anything else. That's a start, it said. The ground gave way, completely. He didn't even have time to react before he was falling, the white shattering above him like broken glass, the darkness swallowing everything. As he dropped, the voices followed, not loud anymore, but close, right next to his ears. Now we go deeper. The fall didn't feel like falling for long, not in the way gravity usually works, because after that initial drop, there was no wind rushing past him. No sense of speed, just a slow, suspended descent into something thicker than darkness. Something that pressed against his skin like it was aware of him, like it recognized him. And the voices that had surrounded him before didn't disappear but changed, stretching out, warping, becoming less like echoes of himself and more like fragments of something larger, something that had been built from every thought he had ever tried to bury. And then, without warning, he stopped. not landing but simply ceasing to move, as if the space itself decided he had gone far enough, and when he opened his eyes the darkness had form now. Not solid, but structured, like a broken version of a place he almost recognized, walls half-formed, edges dissolving. Pieces of memories stitched together in ways that didn't quite fit, and he realized with a quiet dread that this wasn't random. This was his mind trying to reconstruct itself from everything he had refused to face, every avoided truth now forcing its way into shape. And as he took a step forward, the ground responded, solidifying just enough to hold him before threatening to collapse again, making every movement feel like a risk, like he was walking across something unfinished, and then he saw them again. But not standing in a line this time, scattered throughout the space, each version of himself embedded in a different fragment of memory. Some frozen mid-action, others slowly turning to look at him as he approached, and the closer he got, the more detail he could see. The tension in their faces, the hesitation, the regret, the anger, all the emotions he had flattened or ignored now fully visible and impossible to dismiss, and one of them stepped out from a shifting wall. This one younger, eyes sharper, posture more rigid. The version of him that still believed control was something you could maintain if you just tried hard enough, and it spoke before he could react. Its tone precise, almost cold. You always thought you could manage everything by keeping it contained. And he felt that hit deeper than he expected because it was true in a way he had never admitted out loud. And before he could respond, another version emerged, older, more worn down, carrying a kind of quiet exhaustion that made it hard to even meet its gaze. But containment isn't the same as resolution, it added. And now they were circling him again, not aggressively, but deliberately, like they were guiding him through something he didn't want to understand. And the environment shifted with them, scenes forming and dissolving. Moments replaying, but altered just enough to highlight what he had missed the first time. A conversation where he had chosen silence instead of honesty. A decision where he had prioritized comfort over truth. A moment where he had walked away when he should have stayed, and each time he tried to look away, the scene followed him, adjusting, insisting, refusing to let him disengage, and the pressure built again, not external this time, but internal, like his own thoughts were closing in on him. And he finally snapped, turning in place, voice sharper than before. "What do you want from me?" And that question lingered in the space longer than it should have, echoing not outward but inward, repeating until it lost its shape. And then everything stopped again, all movement, all shifting, all noise, and the versions of him faced him at once, unified for the first time. Their expressions no longer fragmented, but aligned, and the answer came not from one but from all of them at once, layered but clear. "We want you to stop running," and something about the way they said it made it impossible to argue, because it wasn't an accusation anymore. It was a statement of fact, and he felt the resistance in himself, that instinct to deflect, to rationalize, to minimize. But it didn't hold the same weight here, not in this place where every thought had consequences, where every avoidance had already taken form. And he realized that this wasn't a confrontation he could win by pushing back because there was no opponent. Just himself reflected from every angle he had tried to avoid, and slowly, almost reluctantly, he let his shoulders drop, the tension easing just enough to allow something else to surface, something quieter but heavier. And when he spoke again, his voice wasn't defensive anymore, just uncertain. "I don't know how, and for the first time since this began." The space didn't react violently, didn't crack or distort. It held steady, like it had been waiting for that exact admission. And one of the versions they exhausted one step closer, not threatening, not mocking, just present. "Then you start here," it said. And as it reached out, the environment shifted again, but this time it wasn't breaking, it was rebuilding, slowly, unevenly. Like something fragile being put back together piece by piece, and he understood, not completely, but enough to feel the direction change. That this wasn't about escaping the darkness or defeating it. It was about recognizing it, integrating it. And the process wasn't going to be quick or clean or comfortable, and as the scene continued to reshape itself around that realization, One thought settled in his mind with a kind of quiet certainty. This wasn't the end of anything. It was the beginning of something much harder.